Hey, good morning, folks. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Going to explain this snow situation to some of you. Now, actually, probably the vast majority of the state, as far as population goes, doesn't get in on heavy snow. If you're in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Flint, Saginaw Bay City, the Thumb, Lansing, Jackson, you get some spurts of snow. If you're on the west side of the state, you get into the heavy snow, and let's get right on into it. First off, let's say good morning to Spring Lake Village Government. Hey, thanks for watching. And good morning, Carl Yo from Lenox. And Carrie Draper, good morning. Linda Schultz from Flint, good morning to you. All right, so here we go. This is where the advisories and warnings are in effect. So the pink is a winter storm warning. That extends from Traverse City, Leelanau County, through Cadillac, through Manistee, Ludington, Pentwater, Muskegon, Grand Rapids, and just south of Grand Rapids into Allegan County. Then the purple to the east of that and to the north of it is a winter weather advisory. So winter storm warning area, 6 or more inches of snow and some wind. And then the winter weather advisory tapering off to less than an inch in that zone there. And let's get into it and show you what I'm talking about. And by the way, the tan from Bay City, Bay County, Midland County into the Thumb and into Detroit and Ann Arbor, that's a wind advisory for some gusts, possibly to 45 miles an hour, but more likely near 40 miles an hour. All right, so here is the current radar, and you could see the pivot point, perhaps. If you stare at it long enough, see the counterclockwise circulation of the whole thing, and the pivot point now may be around Green Bay or so. That's got to move to the east before the winds can turn northwesterly and really turn the lake effect snow on in the southwest part of the state. Right now, the northern part of the state from Traverse City to Gaylord northward is in the system snow, and it will evolve. Let's look at the radar forecast and give you a timeline for what's going on here. Okay. All right, so this is the model that I like in the short term. This is the high resolution rapid refresh. And we're at 10, 11, noon. So, stare at it at noon. Yeah, there's going to be, in that pivot point, will actually turn into what we call a mesoscale cyclone. That little pivot point enhances the snow. That's in the northwest part of the state, Leelanau, Benzie, Manistee County at noontime, and working its way inland and then eventually southward. So we're at 3 in the afternoon. And the one thing I want to emphasize to everybody is this is what I would call a long duration lake effect snow. So you don't get it all at once. All of my total snow maps, I want to remind you, I already had to remind my boss, Tom de Gemitter, about this today in a nice way. And she remembered all the total snow maps are to midday, late Thursday. This is 2 inches every 12 hours or so, continuing. It's not just a big one heavy dumping of snow for everybody. All right, so we're now into this evening, 6 o'clock, and the lake effect shape starting to take more shape. And now we go to midnight tonight, and there it is. The overall widespread snow showers come down in coverage, and it dries out in Flint and Saginaw and Ann Arbor and Midland and Jackson and Lansing. And then your bands of lake effect, heavy lake effect, develop from Muskegon through the Grand Rapids area, eventually backing southwest of Grand Rapids to Allegan and then down toward Kalamazoo, and possibly stretching across I-94 tomorrow. So be careful on that. That's where you get the pileups because the crazy people drive out of Chicago too fast. And crazies from the Detroit area sometimes fly along that too. Here's the snowfall total through midnight tonight. Manistee, Ludington, Pentwater, Muskegon, you're in the heaviest because of that pivot point rotating down the shoreline. You could have over 6 inches by midnight tonight. Grand Rapids, you could be 2 or 3 inches, and then as you go toward the shoreline, 4 or 5. Traverse City area could be 3, 4, 5 inches maybe. And then it tapers off quickly. And of course, the pink you see in the UP, that's the areas that always get buried. Now, what I'm going to show you here is a little bit longer term model that goes out into Thursday. And it'll give you just a good feel for when we're all done with this, who has snow, who doesn't. Who doesn't have snow in this? Detroit, Ann Arbor. I mean, maybe an inch, more likely a half inch. Flint, half inch to inch. Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, maybe 2 inches, especially the thumb. And then you get to Lansing an inch and Jackson an inch. And then the snow ramps up as you head toward the western shoreline. This is a Lake Michigan contour type heavy snow. For that row of counties, you're looking at 6 to 10 inches, all the way from Benton Harbor up through Holland, up to Muskegon, and all the way up the shoreline. Okay, thank you, Pamela Ball. Definitely snow coming down in Twin Lake. Which Twin Lake? Because I feel like there are a lot of Twin Lakes in Michigan, is what I feel like. I know the more popular ones, but so winds, not really like a factor that will bring power lines down, but a factor that will blow snow around. So this is this afternoon, and we got 35 to 40 mile an hour winds, Grand Rapids to Saginaw southward. As you go north, the wind's a little bit lighter because you're in that pivot point. And we go into this evening, and there's your 40 mile an hour gusts. Ann Arbor, Detroit, Jackson, Lansing, all of the thumb, and also on the southwest shoreline. And by the way, if you want to know a place that I would avoid, and generally here in Michigan, I figure we know how to drive in, moderate snowy conditions. But when you put a lot of snow and wind, sometimes I say I'd avoid that. The southwest shoreline from about Holland down to into Indiana. That area right there, 40 mile an hour winds coming off of Lake Michigan, along with the heavy lake effect snow. Those areas probably won't have a blizzard warning, but there will be occasional near blizzard conditions. Okay. So yeah, we continue with the wind here. We're at this evening. And then we go to midnight, still windy, 40 mile an hour gusts for Howell and Lansing and Livingston County, Ann Arbor, the thumb, but starting to come down. And by the time we get to tomorrow morning, winds coming down, but remember that lake effect band on the south end of the lake coming across toward Kalamazoo. It's still going to be blowy and whatnot. Jonathan Zarinsky, Metro Detroit an inch. It would be tonight and tomorrow morning, and that's pushing it in Detroit area. And as we go through tomorrow, then the winds die down, except for in that lake effect band in the far southern part of the state. Let's just give you a big picture of what's going on. It's going to quiet down some after that. Okay, this is a U.S. perspective. There goes our storm. A nor'easter could develop. And then as we get toward the weekend, warmer temperatures head our way. We might get just skipped by a storm system. And then another cold front brings a little bit colder shot of air for several days next week. And as we go out toward it, it looks like that's kind of letting up, and maybe another slight warming trend. So it looks like we're going to be up and down, and maybe not have to deal with extended cold. You might get 2 or 3 days and then it pops up. Like today we're at our high and we're having falling temperatures. The real story today, temperatures in the 20s. And then tomorrow, highs only in the low 20s, teens a lot of places. Northern lower single digits, Traverse City, maybe only in the lower teens for highs. So it's going to be cold. And Friday, cold too, teens, lower 20s. Saturday, pop up to the upper 30s in the southern half of the state, and Sunday maybe 40 degrees in Detroit and Ann Arbor and Lansing and Flint, upper 30s in Grand Rapids, and then the cold front again. And Monday is coldest day we'll have so far this winter. Tuesday cold, Wednesday chilly, and then moderating as we go into Thursday and Friday. And this one, although 10 days out, shows that we could even pop up to 40 degrees by the time we get to next Friday. And that, I think, is the theme here. We got a well-established pattern for the winter. It looks like we could have what we have going on is warm air just to our southeastern third of the country, very cold just to our northwest. At times behind a cold front, that cold air is going to nose into Michigan, and then it'll back up in a couple of days, and the warmth will come in for a couple of days. So we're going to have a little bit of something for everybody. Snowmobilers, I know you don't like to see the 40-degree temperatures. And in that sets up a storm track that right now looks pretty quiet for the next 10 days, but it could develop something that would travel along that temperature boundary, and Michigan would be in that storm track. And that, by the way, is what the extended forecasters from the Weather Service expect, is that we will still, in general, for January and February, be in a wetter than normal pattern based on storms forming just off to our west and southwest and heading toward the northeast into our area. All right, that's your update for today. Be careful. The weather conditions will go downhill as the wind increases and the snow increases. We'll call them the western third of the state, eastern 2/3. We're okay. It's just some unpleasant winter weather if you don't like that. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. Please hit the share button. I'm meteorologist Mark Torregrossa.